I've been wanting to talk to you about the Smashing Pumpkins. So it all started when I was watching YouTube and I learned that Billy Corgan, frontman, lead guitarist, singer for Smashing Pumpkins, you know his voice. The killer in me is the killer in you. He believes maybe that Bill Burr is his half brother.
Oh, I've seen like clips of this.
Really? And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, so he had told the story to like Howie Mandel because they've been shooting on the same lot or something. And he had told the story a couple of times in public. And so it must have gotten back to Bill Burr. Now, at their Gen X age, with their baldness, there is a likeness, perhaps.
Yeah.
But two bald Irish kids. I mean, it could be anybody.
Yeah.
Both named Billy.
My stepmother said to me, do you know who Bill Burr is? Now, at that point, I'd never heard of Bill Burr. I didn't know who he was. I didn't know he was a comedian or he could have been the guy down the street. So when my stepmother had told me, it kind of made sense. Like, well, if my half-brother is this super famous comedian, my dad, in a way, wouldn't want me to know because he wouldn't want me to feel like I was number two because Bill's so famous. Thought you noticed the resemblance. She goes, I think it might be one of your father's illegitimate children. Bill Burr might be one of the children that your father sired.
But I tend to believe it might be true because they're both talking about the same man as their father. So what happened was, this is back in like March, Howie Mandel basically sabotaged Bill Burr with Billy Corgan. He just walks in and he's like, hey, and they're like, do you guys want to like bond as brothers? And Bill Burr shuts down. He's like, are we really doing this right now?
And look who's here.
Oh, hey, what's up?
Sit down.
You're an asshole.
Billy Corgan. Billy Corgan.
Yep.
I'm an asshole? I thought it would be
so
a
then,
good
like,
surprise.
can this be like edited out or no?
I can go. I
mean, I like your music.
That's awkward. Oh, God.
This is very awkward. And he's like, no, the reason I just don't want to talk about it is because it brings up all that shit that my dad did. And like, he's serious as a heart attack.
Wow, really?
Well, whatever. You know, it's not that I don't like him. It reminds me of all of that shit. So, you know,
it just seems more of the same from what I've been hearing.
All right, whatever. I mean, I like your music.
Either it's true or Bill Burr is convinced it's true and it's false.
It's super interesting. They're both famous.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Corgan was saying. He's like, well, you know, two world-class communicators.
If you want to play the game one step further, you got two world-class communicators. People might argue against me calling myself a world-class communicator, but I've been doing it for over 30 years.
You're a world-class communicator.
God bless.
I guess, you know, the father in this case was some sort of a traveling musician, which it was very weird for me to hear.
He was a traveling musician and a whore to his own admittance. And my father did once tell me that I had a half-brother named Bill, who was basically born around the same time as me. He told me on my 18th birthday. This is all totally true. I swear to God.
He was a piece of shit. And he had two kids this close together, and he named them the same fucking name.
Because I feel like Bill Burr always characterized his father on like F is for Family and in his stand-up as this kind of like a workaday, blue-collar Boston guy, not a traveling musician. And Bill Burr's like, you know, we're both in our 50s. What are we going to do? Go play a game of catch? And it does make me think, like, if suddenly you were faced with, like, hey, did you know that when your father, who you always hated, was misbehaving, like, this guy who's ultra famous is your brother? Would you want to know about it? I think if they were the front man for the Smashing Pumpkins, I would want to know.
I mean, I'd probably want to make content out of it. We go get a blood test together. Sure.
I got my blood tested with Smashing Pumpkins lead singer Billy Corgan.
And that's the thumbnail.
No, you know what I'm trying to do is, you know how it'll be an exaggerated face, but then they'll use AI to make it really ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
It's like 24-hour Bill Burr brother challenge at 3 a.m. There's a lot of kids content. It's like, don't be Bill Burr's brother at 3 a.m. Anyway. It sends me down this rabbit hole of you know, watching old concert footage and interesting interviews. He's a very, very interesting musician. Obviously, I know the band because I'm of the 90s. But the grunge era, when, you know, you were encouraged to make music that sounded very strange and out of tune. And like he said it himself, Billy, the way I sing, you know, this kind of whiny, this like, time is never time at all. You can never ever leave.
Lives are forever changed. We will never be the same.
He's like, that's the reason people love the music. They say they love the music because of the way I sing. And the people who hate my music say they hate it because of the way I sing.
I was told when I was very young, that voice you sing with will never sell records, ever. And most people that don't like my music will often cite my voice as the reason they don't like my music. But that's the why that my voice is the reason that people who do like my music like my music.
It's worthwhile to hear. The thing that you're hated for is also probably the thing you're loved for.
Yeah, so singing like that is it's wrong, but that's what makes it right.
Right.
This is calling card. Like you hear his voice, that's it. You know?
It's what defines the thing. It's the signature, and and that instantly reminded me of like Eddie Vedder, Bob Dylan, these signature voices, Janis Joplin. If you heard them at karaoke, you'd be like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, exactly.
How women found that bass attractive. I tried it after I saw Eddie Vedder. I went around going, "Hey, man, what's going on? Let's groove. It didn't work for me.
Do you remember Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story? There was a Bob Dylan song in there. He's like, windows in the lamps in the Coliseum.
Rim job, fairy teapots, mask the temper tantrum. Oh, say, can you see him?
That kind of sounds like Randy Newman. Another distinct.
Yeah, another signature voice. Yeah. You got a friend in me. You got a friend in me.
It's a story about some toys that come to life for a little boy. Blah, 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 yada, yada, toys.
Like at the end of the day, the voice is just an instrument. And like if it's complementary to the music, some of those like cheap, whiny guitar sounds ended up becoming a big part of the sound.
And it was such a cheap guitar that every time I'd stop playing, it would make that whistle. And so when we wrote the song, we wrote in these parts that would stop. And so the whistle became part of the song.
Anyway, he was kind of like a man of mystery, vampire type of guy back then. And now he's a 50-year-old who can talk very intelligently and intellectually about his music. And it's kind of cool. And there's an acoustic performance of Tonight Tonight, one of his most famous songs. And he did a few. He did 1979, and he did a few on Howard Stern. But it's on the Howard Stern show.
Time is never time at all. You can never ever leave without leaving a piece of you.
The thing that's so cool about Tonight Tonight is it kicks off with an orchestra and violins and all this.
That life can change, that you're not stuck in vain.
And then it turns into a grunge song, and then it turns into a pop song, and then it's kind of melancholy, but it's kind of optimistic. And he was talking about that. He was like, I kind of wanted to write a song that like felt like it was aiming up and things were optimistic and things were going to get better. But there also was this kind of undercurrent of sadness and darkness to it. He's like, kind of like a Cheap Trick song or something.
Cheap Trick occasionally would have this kind of dark, optimistic thing, like they'd sing about something that seemed kind of bright, but inside was kind of dark.
But it made me think about how art is a really complicated, strange, fucking weird thing. Mm-hmm. If you're in the business of art, you're in the business of emotions. You're in the business of trying to make people feel something. That's really all you're trying to do is make them feel something. And as a consumer, you're going out to be like, I want to feel something. It's so intuitive to say, I had a really bad day at work. I'm sad. I lost my job, or something bad happened to me. I just want to watch some stand-up comedy, or I just want to listen to some happy music with slide whistles and shit, and that'll pick me up. But that's not normally how we are. And sometimes you want a little bit of comedy in your life because you need it. But other times you're like, I'm feeling at this wavelength. I'm feeling down. I feel like something's absent. I don't understand my emotions fully. That's really, I think, where it kind of starts. And I want to feel understood. And you end up seeking out some piece of art, some song that is like, it's almost like syncing up. It's like, okay, this song feels the way I feel. This poem feels the way I feel. This movie, whatever. And now I feel better, even though I'm listening to this depressing thing.
Yeah, I mean, when I was in my 20s, I listened to The National, and all of their songs are like sad. It's like all of them. In fact, one of the albums is sad songs for dirty lovers.
I think it's a two-way thing. I think that it starts with like, I want something that I can relate to and that can kind of relate to me. So it's like, oh, okay, I feel understood by this artist. I think it's something like that. And then something about the art helps you understand yourself a little bit better. And so we can take this out of the realm of like, I'm sad, so I'll listen to a sad song. It could be, for me, obviously, this is the big year. I talked about Cannibal the Musical a million times. That was the movie that I was like, my peers and my family, I don't really quite feel synced up with them. Like, I don't really feel like I'm relating well. I feel weird everywhere I go. I feel like people don't get my jokes. And then you see a movie and you're like, yeah, you get me. There's people in the world. And then because you feel gotten, you understand yourself better.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It's like this amazing handshake. That's some of when art can be at its very, very, very best. He did a Pink Floyd cover on Howard Stern as well. He was talking about how like their music, like, really picked him up at a time in his life when he needed it.
I think this is the first song that ever really landed with me personally, if that makes any sense. Like, I felt like this person is, if I could write a song, this is the song I wished I'd write.
And he says, not unlike the James Rolfe, like, you saved my life stuff. He says, like, I hear a lot, like, your song saved my life or whatever. And he's like, I take that seriously because I actually felt that way. And he goes, it's really strange how sometimes a song can be the difference between somebody, like, making a horrible decision in their life.
When people tell me that about my songs, I take it very seriously because I really know what that feels like. How one song can really, like, keep you from jumping off a roof. It didn't just do something like get somebody down the road. Like, it actually kept them like from, on the side of sanity or something.
Obviously music can, help them in the long run, or it can kind of help them understand themselves better. But sometimes like it helps them immediately.
We get comments like that too, where it's just like, Box Mac got me through this, the hardest times of my life and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, some things can just talk to you and pull you out of dark areas. And it's just crazy how primal. It's like something that we've done forever, I think. It kind of calibrates you in a way.
It makes you feel less alone. I mean, that's really at the heart of it, is if you just feel like I'm not relating to anybody, I feel like I have no community. Hopefully we never had to like deliver somebody from suicide or anything like that. I hope that never has happened.
I don't think so. I don't think anybody specifically said that, but
obviously they tell James this nonstop. But look, I kind of believe it. I think probably he obviously has a big autistic audience, and they're going to feel out of place all the time. It's interesting. A couple last bits on Billy Corgan. He owns the NWA Wrestling League, not the one that says "fuck the police," not that NWA. Yeah, he owns a wrestling league. EJ, he's a pro wrestling guy.
Oh, I wouldn't have guessed that. Well, obviously. Well,
they were like, do your fans, the Smashing Pumpkins fans, like the wrestling thing? He's like, not at all. Very unhappy about the wrestling shit.
And I've actually learned over time it's just best to keep the world separate. They get that I'm a bit goofy, but they just don't want to hear about the wrestling thing. They ask the worlds to be kept separate.
Did they ever get mad at you?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I was like, why? Like people like 90s grunge fans aren't now 50-year-olds who like wrestling? Come on.
Do a wrestling album. An album all about wrestling.
Somebody asked him, they said, do you get all the time like, hey man, like I really love 1979? Are you just like, yeah, of course you love 1979. It's a huge hit song. He's like, I don't really feel that way about it. He says, but what has happened, like, he's like, this has probably happened 100 times. It's almost scripted. Somebody walks up to me. They're like, hey man, I loved 1979, or I love Tonight Tonight, or I love Disarm. And I'll be like, oh, thanks very much. And he goes, and it's almost always a guy, by the way. Always a guy. Because then they say, your other stuff I never really understood. Or everything you did after that I didn't really get. And he goes, and I always say, did I need to know that?
And I say, do I need to know that? And the guy gets offended now. Now he's offended because I pushed back.
And they always say, well, I just thought you'd want to know.
I just thought you'd want to know. Like, know what?
I'm trying to be helpful here.
Yeah, they always get offended that I'm like pushed back a little bit to be like, you don't need to like give me like a shit sandwich compliment.
Just I gave you a compliment. This is the criticism, and maybe I'll go back to the compliment.
There is a strange impulse to be like, let me compliment you. Now let me insult you. And it's not, it's like, it'd be one thing if it was a roast or it was trying to, but it's not that. It's just like, I just also want you to know you suck in this particular way. Did I need to know that?
People need to feel alive. I definitely liked, Tonight Tonight. It was like a kind of a riff on the Journey to the Moon or whatever, right?
Yeah, the music video. Yeah. Yeah. I was watching some, I think what's her YouTube channel? It's called like The Charismatic Voice or something. She's like a traditional trained singer, and she watches or claims to watch famous musicians for the first time.
There's a ton of those, yeah.
Tons of those.
It's like, I'm listening to this video game music for the first time. It's like, no, you aren't, asshole.
Like you're hearing the Smashing Pumpkins for the first time. But she was very critical of, you can never ever leave at first. She was like, oh, it's like a really dirty, nasally sound. We don't even care. But as she listened to the entire song, she came around to it and was like, oh, I get it. I totally get it. Because he does a lot of weird stuff in that song. And Tonight, he does like those crescendos, like tonight, that sort of stuff.
And that was a magnificent crescendo that transitioned smoothly through registers. That's actually very hard to do without just hitting a massive break in the voice.
Tonight, I'm doing like Cartman. Tonight,
It's so sweet.
You guys, time is never time at all. You can never ever live without taking a piece of you guys. Anyway, I lost track of what I was saying. Oh yeah, stay out of my booze.
I feel like I don't want to go any further with this. I think we played along long enough, Howie. Can you come back in and shut off this fucking music?
Life can change the